I'm Dana Denha, and you're watching FYI. The city strives to be on the cutting edge when it comes to alternative modes of transportation. Last fall, we were introduced to a new biking system in the downtown. This is just the first of what could be many protected bike lanes throughout Ann Arbor. Check it out.
The William Street Bikeway is making traveling on two wheels the wave of the future.
This is the grand opening celebration of the William Street Bikeway, which is Ann Arbor's first two-way protected bike lane.
So this is a guarded bikeway that people are able to just go right through town, coming from the university and right into the neighborhoods or wherever they're trying to go.
This gives people on bikes their own space on the road, and it actually gives visual cues to motorists that they'll see these delineators along the road and know that that is not the space for them to drive in.
This actually has these buffer that cars can't penetrate, so cyclists feel comfortable riding them.
This is the first of what could be many protected bikeways in Ann Arbor.
The Downtown Development Authority, working with the city, is creating the second two-way protected bike lane next year on First Street. So running from Kingsley to William, that bike lane will connect with this William Street bike lane, which runs from State down to First Street.
You just see how many people are out here today, people of all ages, children, grandparents, and teenagers all riding and feeling very comfortable, very safe.
In today's technology-ridden world, it's easy to get distracted from your task at hand. But when you're driving, your concentration should be on the road and not on your device. Get the facts on distracted driving in this month's City Roundup in 60.
Hi, I'm Sergeant Bill Clock, the Ann Arbor Police Special Services Section. I'm here to talk a little bit about distracted driving. Texting while driving does increase your stopping distance, so it's going to actually take you a whole lot longer to stop. Nationally, in 2016, there was 3,500 people killed in distracted driving collisions. And in 2016, here in Michigan alone, there's 43 fatalities and about 13,000 traffic crashes resulting from distracted driving incidents. Michigan Vehicle Code does prohibit sending a text message, reading a text message, or manually typing a text message. So please keep your eyes on the road, put the cell phone down, and be safe out there.
Ann Arbor is rich with parkland. The city boasts over 160 parks for the public to enjoy. It may seem nearly impossible to visit all these parks, but two locals took it upon themselves to explore our many parks and create a report for all of us to find that unknown gem we didn't know we were searching for. Joining me is Maya Goldman and Ben Ratner, authors from Burns to Belize, a report on Ann Arbor's public parks. Welcome to the show, Ben and Maya.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.
So I think we've all heard a little bit about like how this sort of came about, but it was pretty much because the pandemic started and you guys were looking for ways to hang out with. You don't live together, but you're in a relationship and you wanted to see each other.
Yeah, we were antsy for sure and looking for a way to kind of mix up our COVID-induced routine. Maya mentioned this in the beginning of the report, but we were getting a little sick of meeting at the ARB every time we wanted to see each other. So we thought it'd be fun to see a different park every single time we went out, from the really small ones to the more well-known big ones.
Yeah, it's funny. Before, because you grew up in Ann Arbor, Ben, were you like sort of like, did you know a bunch of parks already? Were you sort of like the ARB school? Everybody knows the ARB. Everybody knows Gallup.
I knew the classics, but one of the great things about this project, this adventure, was finding the really tiny ones in the corners of the city that I had never been to, and getting to feel like I was getting to know a place that I thought I knew, but really, in fact, I didn't. I think for Maya, she had been to some of the places downtown, but it was new for you too, right?
Yeah, living in Ann Arbor as a student is so, like, you're really siloed. You only see a really specific part of the city. And so it was really exciting to be able to get out and learn more about this place that I'd lived in for the last 4 years, but yeah, also didn't really know that well.
So why did you guys decide, to chronicle this for all of us? Because like I mentioned before the show, we were talking, Maya, like we all knew, like Ann Arbor has a ton of parks, but I don't think we all know a lot about Ann Arbor Park. So this is actually like a really great resource for us that live or like are near the city to look and sort of find parks that might interest yourself or your family?
I think we just started like chronicling all the parks for ourselves because, we wanted to like keep a record, and there are so many, and we knew that by the time we got to 148, we wouldn't really remember one that well. And then somewhere along the way, we just decided that this would be a really cool resource to share with other people. Since we were already taking notes, we might as well, we're big nerds, we like to do research. And so we thought this would be fun to to come up with something that the community can actually use. And maybe we thought might inspire other people to get out and visit the parks too.
So what criteria I assume this all sort of evolved as the project went on, but what was your criteria to sort of figure out what you thought were some of the top 25 is what you give in the top 25 parks?
Yeah, we had a number of criteria. For those who are curious, it's in the methodology section of the report. But I think some of the big ones, we were suckers for green space. We love green space. We also measured very imperfectly, it was really our guts doing the evaluation, the cohesion of a park. Did it feel like it was one park or a bunch of different parks? That was big. We also like to measure the different amenities within a park. So was there a nice pavilion? Were there places for picnics? Were there playgrounds? Were there facilities for all different ages? So we really wanted to make it holistic and not just focusing on one particular dimension of a park. So when we were actually rating the parks, we made sure that we were taking into account a lot of these different criteria.
Yeah, because like I mentioned, each person's sort of different. Like you guys are individuals. So when I go to the park, I'm taking my daughter. So I'm obviously looking for some sort of playground or something. But even right now, I'm the person that has not gone to a playground. I'll take her to a park, but I won't let her play on the playground. So I'd sort of like some of the other criteria to make a park more enticing for us.
Yeah, during COVID, a lot has changed. And when we were visiting the parks, we wanted to make sure we were being safe. So we, socially distanced, didn't really touch any of the amenities. But I think when we were writing it up too, we were thinking, okay, this is going to be used hopefully, now, today, in the coming months. So we have to take all of this into account when we're actually recommending it to the public in this particular moment.
Yeah, and on that note of everyone being different and having different things that make a park good to them, we really tried to emphasize that in our report that, even though we're coming up with a ranking, this is our ranking and you should get out and see the parks for yourself so that you can form your own opinions.
But I like when you go through the report, you mention your top 25, but then you give little things about parks that you liked about them, which could help people hone in on what park they might like. Because like I said, for me, a lot of times it ends up being well, Esch Park's in our neighborhood, so let's just walk there. But then you get bored. You get bored with seeing the same place all the time. So did you guys sort of have to argue about what you thought were your top 5 or,
There was definitely, our number one, which was Hunt Park, was a no-brainer. We fell in love with it the first time we saw it. But then I think 2 and 3 we went back and forth a little bit on. And also, after the top 5, that was kind of the whole top 25, we kind of had to talk it out a lot. It was not a totally given order. So it was fun to kind of go through, and it was also good to go back through our notes and kind of relive this whole experience that we'd had while we were writing the report. It was a lot of fun.
Did you guys spend so much time at the park? You're okay, we're going to do this. So we're going to this park today. We're going to at least spend an hour or 2.
Yeah, it was definitely less than an hour or 2 per park, just because we were trying to fit in 3 to 5 parks per day.
Okay, so you were doing it you're okay, we're on a mission. These 3 parks or these 5, yeah.
We had to plot it out, but we did take breaks. There was, I think, we took a 2-week break at one point when we had really, gone to a lot of parks in the past week. So what was nice is it felt like a new kind of surprise every day. So even though it was a 3-month-long activity, we were constantly surprised and interested by the new things we found.
All right, on that note, we're going to take a short break and we'll be back with more from Ben and Maya. We're back, and Ben and Maya created this report about most of the Ann Arbor public parks because you sort of left some out too, right? There are no outdoor or no indoor parks, and then I'm assuming there's some that are just sort of green and nothing. I don't know when there's.
Yeah, so we had some parks. Well, we included parks that were just like green and nothing else. Or parks that, we couldn't necessarily get into, but we didn't include golf courses, and we didn't include the farmers market, and we didn't include the cemetery that the city manages, because we decided that the primary purpose of those things were not like outdoor gathering for like completely public for use.
I didn't even realize that the golf courses or the cemetery would be listed as on the list of public parks in Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
So.
I think the official list, as we've communicated back and forth with the Parks Department, is 163 park properties. But because we were making this, a report for the everyday Ann Arborite, we wanted to make sure that things like, the Ellsworth storage facility, which is technically a park property, wasn't listed as a park that we were, judging by the same criteria as all the others.
So I know you guys went into this sort of just for yourselves and just sort of like as a project, something fun to do when we all sort of had to stay home and it was a way to get out and still be safe. So now that it's here, it's really sort of gaining attention. What do you hope happens with it?
I think for us, just the fact that so many people have enjoyed reading it and it seems like people are actually starting to use this. We've gotten a number of emails from individuals. We left our emails at the beginning of the report. Messages from people asking for recommendations. What's a good place to walk with my 4-year-old? We went to this park. What do you recommend, given that we like that one? So, that's what we want. We want people to be engaging with this. We want people to be challenging it. We've had a great defense of one of the parks that we maybe judged a little bit too harshly, Rose White Park. So it's great. We love all the discourse, discussion, criticism, conversation. Everything that's come out of this has been positive for us because we think at the end of the day, it's encouraging people to really pay attention to the parks and go out and use them.
Yeah, and now is the time to sort of get out there and use them in any facet that you can. Does Ann Arbor, correct me if I'm wrong, does Ann Arbor have any disc golf courses? Are those county parks?
Oh yeah, Ann Arbor has several disc golf courses. I think Bandemere has a big one. Then Mary Beth Doyle
definitely does. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was like a recreational activity that I was thinking that is sort of a good one that people can get out and do without, touching other people's things.
Yeah. And there's some like skate parks and like a mountain biking areas. And
what were you both most surprised by doing this? Did you find something that was just like really shocking or, like you're like, I can't believe Ann Arbor has this?
It's a great question. I don't think anyone has asked us that yet. I think it was really cool to see that there are like public toys in the sandbox that are just like available for everyone to use. Obviously not during COVID, but I thought that was like a really fun touch, something that I would have really liked as a kid.
I know. I've taken my daughter to Burns Park and they have like a ton of them in that sand. That's a big sandbox at that park too.
Burns Park, top 10 park.
It's a good park. And you get the school equipment right there too. So and the school's beautiful. Like you can see that, nice school there. So Ben, anything that you were sort of surprised by?
Man, I was surprised by how charmed I was by the number of tiny little pocket parks that were scattered throughout the city. They actually took up a huge portion of our top 25 just because we loved them so much. Belize Park, Iroquois Park, Postman's Rest Park, all these really small ones that, you're walking through a neighborhood and all of a sudden there's a park on your left. So I was really touched by those. And then Hunt Park and West Park are big, fantastic parks. Both made the top 5 for us. And I just never heard of them. So those were really pleasant surprises. I was also, I liked the public toys. I liked that they put a sign that mentioned how they were regularly reviewing the quality of the public toys. So clearly people are thinking about how kids are experiencing the parks, which I think is just fantastic.
Yeah. And on that, another thing that I was really pleased to see was, how well maintained most of the parks in Ann Arbor are. There are so many and it's such a big job for the Parks Department, but they really do it. They deliver, and the parks by and large are really nice.
Yeah, even if the grass gets a little long, they're still so Because at Ash the grass will get long and people will complain. I'm like, I don't care. I'm happy to have somewhere to go in my neighborhood. And I think Ann Arbor sort of strives to have every neighborhood have somewhere to go like that.
Yeah, that's something that we noted in our report, was that the spread of parks throughout the city was really well done. And most neighborhoods were within walking distance of a park. But Ben, if you want to talk maybe about our recommendation for equity in the parks a little bit.
Sure, yeah. Our last recommendation was that the city or the Parks Department commission an equity audit of the park system to look at, measuring along lines of race and class to see if the parks are equitably distributed to different parts of the city. We did sort of a rudimentary analysis using like census data and found some things that might be concerning, but we're not professionals, we're not academics, so we thought that those are important questions, and the Parks Department should take a close look at them and come up with some kind of structure or framework to ensure that the parks are truly inclusive going into the future.
I mean, I think that's we're in a time right now in America where we should be thinking about all these things. It's definitely like something that you guys noticed, and I don't think anyone else probably in the Parks Department probably even noticed. It's something that you need someone to tell you. So before we go, why don't you just tell people why they should take advantage of Ann Arbor's park system? You can each give your own answer.
Go ahead, Maya.
I think that right now is a time when we're really being encouraged to stay inside and to stay, physically distant from other people. But the parks are a really good place to socialize safely during this like crazy pandemic, and they're a really good place to kind of break out of your daily routine that's probably getting really monotonous by this point. So I think they're just like a really fantastic public resource that people should take advantage of because it's there for you to use.
For me, it's about talking to strangers and meeting people that you might not otherwise encounter. I think parks are one of those, if properly executed, they're one of those public spaces where you can actually break out of your social network and make a new friend or make a new acquaintance, have a conversation that brightens your day. So I think all those things are needed all the time, but right now I think when our lives are siloed and we have this tendency to look inward, they're really important.
I will say I've had many instances at the park, especially at the playgrounds, where I've met and talked to people that I never would have spoken to before. So you're right about that. And I want to thank you both for coming on the show and talking about this awesome report you made. And I hope everyone checks it out. Is there a way before we go that people can check it out? Is there an online link or anything?
There is an online link. It's a little bit long. I would say the easiest way is to email either one of us. So my email is riverratner@gmail.com.
And mine's mayagold@umich.edu.
All right. So you guys are ready to take any inquiries. I know you mentioned it already, so you're ready to talk to people.
Inboxes are open.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
For more on this and other programs, visit a2gov.org/CTN. Visit youtube.com/CTN Ann Arbor to see all that we have to offer. And remember to like, comment, and share. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time to FYI.